Okay, and welcome to our podcast, and we are now calling it the Day After Podcast because we're releasing this the day after. Yeah. So that's how that's going. What an interesting episode.
I know this was a great first episode for a season. Because I know, like, going into this, like, we have season 40 on the mind and everything, but I think they got a really good cast of characters this time around. Like, granted, when we did our research and stuff, they didn't deep dive into everyone.
Yeah.
But like,
when we were doing the research, there was only a few that really like shines. But in this episode, I felt like everyone had something that they were bringing to the table that that other people didn't have, and it was very interesting to kind of see all these people that we had been looking at for a while now finally come together, and we can actually be like, whoa, we can actually like know these people now.
And also like some exceeded expectations.
Oh
like,
yeah,
Janet,
she came through for me.
This was like probably the most badass introductions to a character in Survivor, because like she even said, like, because her, typing doesn't usually make it long in the game, so she had to be like, look, I'm here to play, and I'm an asset, and, building fire so soon.
She knew right away that what she had to do, and she came in and did it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm glad, because I picked her, even though I didn't think I thought she was going to be a first boot.
Well, I'm glad. I always like being pleasantly surprised about, like, someone that breaks the mold, like, I can see, like, Denise being like, you go, girl.
Yeah, no, I almost jumped out of my seat when I saw her make that fire and get the credit for it.
Yeah, that was an awesome, badass.
There's no way she's going to be one of the first people out now.
Oh, not now.
Like,
they were already calling her, like, the mama, or like Big Mama and stuff like that. Like, she cemented herself.
And let's also not forget, in the immunity challenge, there was the grappling hook thing. She
nailed
did
it.
She beat, who was it, Dean? Was it Dean?
I think it was Dean.
Yeah. And it's just like, wow.
She nailed it. And then it's like, because like, not only a social threat, but now like, she can even hold her own in competitions. So like, wow.
Yeah.
So great.
There's no reason to get rid of her at this stage in the game now. Whereas before it was, she was going to be one of the first 3 people gone.
Yeah.
In one episode, she changed everything around for her.
Total like shift for her. Let's also talk about who we thought might have been early out.
Yeah.
Elaine.
Oh, I was gonna be so mad if she went.
Gosh darn it, like, she became so likable so fast.
Yes, almost immediately.
I know, like, because she was almost like a threat, and then, like, we'll talk about later, like, when we talk about, Laro's, going to tribal and stuff, but, like, she low-key made big power moves. Like, she joined 2 alliances early on. And, like, I don't even think she realized the gravity of it.
No, not at all. She was just... I think she was just being herself.
Yeah.
And because of her being herself, she became a threat. And likability is a liability, as was stated.
Really great quote.
She's definitely going to be her own worst enemy because she's just too goddamn likable.
But, I mean, that can... Yeah, I feel like that's going to be her biggest struggle.
But also, like she said, why would you get rid of her early when you can get rid of her at, like, day 27 or something like that?
I don't know. They said the same thing about Sandra.
And she kept making it.
Yeah.
But at least with Sandra, she was a little more hated.
Oh, yeah, she was a bit more cutthroat. She even said in the like the episode title was,
Yeah, how did you think about the... Boston Rob and Sandra being in their own little confessional booth?
I thought that was like, ooh, interesting, because I didn't think it was going to be to that extent. I thought they were just going to be on an island, but now they know even more about
They get to come and they get to see what's going on at Tribal, which is going to give them more info on what they're going to help out with.
Yes.
I also liked it because it was almost like, because they didn't let up at all. They were brutally honest.
Oh, yeah, like, I mean... Face it, Boston Rob
and Sandra,
they're honest people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they hold their cards, but like if it comes to like teaching and then like getting stuff done, they're straight up.
Yeah, no, I also like it because it was like they were like the fans watching in, and so now all of a sudden it was like, hey, they're saying what we would want to say if we were in that situation.
Oh yeah, and then getting to see them and like and then making looks, and it's like,
yeah,
oh yeah, this
it was really funny.
She looks good.
I almost didn't know what I was seeing when I first saw it. I was like, wait, what? What's
like,
happening?
For a second, so we're gonna like skip all the way to like the Island of the Idols himself.
Okay.
Where, because when Elizabeth went, like this was obviously the first time us seeing like how it's gonna work and things like that, and then she had to build the fire and everything, and then the test. May I say, like, granted, editing helps with this, but Boston Rob just like made fire like it was nothing.
Yeah.
like just to like show her, it was like magnesium, flint, boom.
Yeah. To be fair though, to Elizabeth's credit, she started fire first, but couldn't keep it going.
Yeah.
Whereas Boston Rob's, he started and immediately just got up basically to the rope.
Oh yeah, and that was. I mean, that was a good match.
Why would you ever do fire making against Boston Rob?
I feel part of the reason is, one, as a fellow competitor and someone that likes a challenge, like, sometimes you want to like see. Also, maybe in the back of her head, he was like, maybe he might go easy on me, but it's Boston. There. But then I was like, it's Boston Rob. He doesn't.
He's not going to just go easy. He's not going to give you an idol.
Yeah.
For free.
He has like the ego and stuff to be like, nah, I'm not gonna go hard. You gotta earn it.
Yeah, and also he has a bag of tricks, so he could have been like, you know what, that idol's going to be for 3 tribal councils. Like, I'm assuming that's how it's going to work, is he can up it,
up the ante,
or potentially have another advantage that adds to it, so you could potentially get like 2 advantages.
And what I feel, even when Elizabeth didn't win, like as someone who competes a lot in like video game tournaments, like losing can also be a lesson, and like it was like, and Elizabeth learned like, oh okay, don't take off more than I can handle, because like going one-on-one was a bad idea, but
hey, she at least now has a skill, which is she can make fire now. Because sometimes there's been tribes that they go back with flints and they still have trouble making fire.
Yeah, and one thing is, when she came back, granted there is a debate on what you tell people when you come back.
Yes.
What do you think? Did you think she played it well?
So this can go one of 2 ways. It can either go well because now the people who end up going there have like this little secret that they can share with each other. But at the same time, if people who don't go there end up realizing that, oh, they were lying, they lose all credibility and trust.
I feel, because, me thinking about this, it's like, I feel I would have just straight up revealed it there, because going there, people lie.
Yeah.
So like whether it's, Redemption Island, Ghost Island, or anything like that, it's like you're going there and you're going to get some sort of advantage. I feel, because it's not like they're going to target one person to send back and forth like they did with
because that would make no sense now.
Like with because it's randomized.
Oh yes, it's random too.
Like, so there's not going to be like a Sugar scenario where like
she's just
Sugar would always
going.
Yeah. So it's going to be randomized, and next week, it's going to be someone from, the Vokai tribe, and then, depending on whether they switch up again or anything like that, the odds of her going back is still pretty slim.
Small, yeah.
So I feel like her best play was like, Boston Rob and Sandra are here, and they're going to teach us skills. They taught me how to make fire. She didn't have to mention anything about losing the vote or anything.
Yeah.
That she could have been like, oh yeah, fire.
Yeah, she shouldn't have revealed the game that she was going to play, but she should have revealed Boston Rob and Sandra.
Because now,
once someone goes there,
once that secret's out, it's like, oh, she didn't really reveal.
Yeah, so episode 3 could be kind of interesting, because that will be when one of their tribe members go again, most likely.
Yeah.
And then someone on that tribe will know. Unless Elizabeth just goes again.
You never know.
You never know in Survivor.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's try to go back a little more to the beginning of the episode. I want to talk about your man Jason.
Oh yeah.
So how do you feel about his move to go look for an idol in the first hour of being at camp?
That was probably the dumbest thing you could have done. I think. Don't worry about the idol just yet.
Yeah.
It's because making those connections within like the first time you're there are so key.
Mm-hmm.
Like you even saw it with Laro when Vincent, the hockey player, I'm blanking on his name. Tom and Elaine were off somewhere.
Yeah.
It kind of was like, oh, if you're away from a core group, they're going to be talking, especially if it's day one.
Yeah.
So be there and make those connections. Yeah. Worry about the idol later.
I did think that on that tribe, that was very rookie survivors playing. Let's just, look at those people are away. This is our core group. Doesn't matter who you are really. This is our core group because I can talk to you right now.
I mean, sometimes those can work out. Sometimes it didn't. Clearly, it didn't work out for one person with that core group. But I feel looking at both teams, like. I feel in the first episode, Vokai was very kind of like happy-go-lucky and chill.
Yeah.
While, Laro seemed like, a lot of strong competitors and power players and stuff like that, which will be an interesting dynamic going forward.
Yes. I also have to really respect Tommy Sheehan's game. He did what I would do if I ever went and played Survivor, is have one-on-one connections with everyone.
Oh, yeah.
He has, like, the best occupation for Survivor, a 4th grade teacher. Everyone's been to 4th grade. Yeah. A lot of people like the 4th grade teachers. It just happens.
I know, and you just built from there. He already knows how to, talk to people and stuff like that. Like I said, he's my number one pick to win, and I felt like he was able to do it so organically because building connections, not just in survival, but in general, it all starts with finding common ground.
Yes.
And that's such an easy thing to do when, you have something so relatable like being a teacher.
Yeah. He definitely started off really strong in my opinion. I think that you might be on something with him being your winner pick. My winner pick kind of was a little more under the radar. She was doing a lot of Sandra Diaz-Twine thing, where she was going up to people and just like, hey, I'll go with whatever.
Well, I mean, sometimes that's, the best way as well, is because especially early game, don't let all your cards spill out, which I feel is kind of Elaine's downfall, was because, granted, I feel like she was a bit scared because, she heard her name on the chopping block. Yeah. She didn't really have to be scared, but it was still, a thing of,
you hear your name once, and it's like...
She let everything out on the table, which I'm like... Which I get it's a human thing, but in this game, keep your cards close.
Yeah, to be honest, in the pre-merge, definitely matters less than the merge, because you're voting out people who aren't going to be awarding you the $1 million. So you can make great plays in the pre-merge, but then if you don't do it in the merge, it doesn't get respect.
Not really, but
Yeah.
Pre-merge is so important because
it shapes the merge.
Exactly. Building the relationships, whether it's a tribe swap or if someone's on the outs and they just so happen to make it out alive to the merge. It's in the early stages, this is where, alliances and stuff are built and determine the rest of the game.
Yeah. So let's also talk about how there was no marooning. No Jeff at the beginning of the game. They went 3 days without seeing Jeff.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of the mystery of, because all they see is Island of the Idols. Now, when anyone sees that, they're thinking, oh, hidden immunity idols and stuff like that.
They're not thinking Survivor idols.
Which is going to be the secret that they have for the first, I feel, 2 episodes. And after that, more people know, more people will talk about it. I mean, maybe Elizabeth might share it with someone later on, but coming back into it when she doesn't have a vote or anything, best to lay low.
Yeah. I also think that it's for production reasons, is that they were like, well, if we have the marooning can sometimes give character moments for one or two, but with this, they were allowed to have a lot more character moments and a lot more time for the cast to be at camp and everything, and that's very important in premieres, is to have that camp life so you can know who these characters are before the game gets going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also it's like, oh, we get right into it.
Mm-hmm.
Right into the camp life.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely enjoyed it, actually. I don't know. I think that they needed this for Island of the Idols because that's going to take up a lot of screen time.
I also feel it's because the mind games. Because, because, they usually know the gimmick or the twist in the beginning. Except for, obviously, when, they had to, last season where it was oh, you have the option to, pretty much do a Redemption Island type of deal, or just go home. But this one, it was especially where it's Island of the Idols, you're thinking of hidden immunity idols and stuff like that. It's really I think because of the surprise of Sandra and stuff to the contestants that go there, whether or not they keep that a secret or anyone who goes there keeps that a secret. It's going to be very, very important for that kind of mystery in the beginning.
Yes, definitely, 100%. Do we want to now talk about the World Series of Poker winner, Ronnie Bardaw? Gosh, he played a Garrett game if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, it was
he was all over the place. He could not make a read on anyone out there. Except for Aaron, but everyone can read Aaron.
I think his downfall, targeting Elaine.
Yeah,
that was mistake number one. If he didn't really,
I think he could have got more votes if he targeted Vince.
Yes,
but
he did.
He ended up doing it, but the thing was there was already this notion of him voting out Elaine that made people go "Oh, I don't think that's a good idea."
So I feel if this was a season where he was able to get the people behind it, because like we said, Elaine is had the she checked off all the marks for easy out in the first vote, but this season where I feel things were always. I feel this season, low-key, is going to blow away expectations. Because, or I feel that might be the overall theme, because we already did with Janet. Elaine, who, some people might just brush her off at first glance. It's oh, no, wow, she's, so likable and relatable, too.
Yeah. Normally, I don't like the Elaine characters, because they've had a few other kind of characters of that archetype, but, I really liked her in this, she especially just when she was making all the jokes and everything. It was just so great. And we should also talk about a potential women's alliance.
That one.
I think that is what caused Ronnie's downfall at the end.
Yes, because, that's 5 people, well, in this case 4, because, Elizabeth lost her vote.
Yeah.
But, it's because, let's say, a women's alliance didn't happen, and then the core 7 that was kind of established at the beginning, that, and they stuck to that, then, Elaine probably would have gone home, or, Vince.
Yeah.
But because, the women's alliance was there, it's
it was able to shift it.
Yeah, and because Ronnie decided it was Elaine and not Vince, the women's alliance, he's targeting one of our own.
Yes.
And that kind of sealed his fate.
Exactly. If it was just wrong target for the first vote. I think that was what really came down to it. But as I said, I think a woman is winning the season, and if this women's alliance can manage to stick through it, I think we're going to have another female winner.
I know. We have a lot of powerful women in this game.
Yeah.
Now that Janet and Elaine are back on the table, because last time we talked, it was we don't think it was gonna go far, but oh shit, now they're power players. They're getting
they're both respected in their tribe now.
Exactly. So I feel like it's definitely more likely for them to go further and possibly win.
Yeah, and who would have thought Janet has a chance of winning this game?
That was
Janet.
It's like when you go into a movie, you see this one person in the trailer. It's like, they're probably gonna weigh it down, or they're kind of like comedic relief, and then you see them and they're like the best thing about the movie.
Yes.
I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Exciting.
I'm excited to see Janet's progression throughout the season. So let's all move on to the immunity challenge.
Yes, your standard obstacle course and then puzzle at the end.
Yeah, very first challenge-esque.
Oh yeah, that one was interesting. And like I said, we definitely saw some standouts. One of them, Janet, as we said, just like showing up, the younger male. And being like, yep, I got this.
First toss.
Like,
I don't know if there's any editing that came into that, but I want to imagine that Janet just walked up there and tossed it, and then was good.
And that just propelled them so much. Granted, when they were going up, the wall. Yeah. And looking at that, I was like, that was high. Yeah. That was like 3 grown men standing up. From like foot to shoulder. Yeah. And still needing one person to climb all the way up. Like that thing was high. I was like, how are they going to get the last person and stuff like that? But like,
that they have to save someone strong for the last one because they have to basically really book it up there.
But I mean, they made it work. Like, I did like the moment where, God, what's the guy with the long hair? His name?
Jack.
Jack.
Yeah. Jack. He did great.
Oh yeah, like I think he's gonna do well. And then like what Jeff Probst said, the hero moment where he was like, "Come on." Yeah. And getting everyone.
Yeah, he went back down after already being up. Yeah.
Which I feel like was probably the best play because like. Especially for, the bigger guys that were at the end, like Jamal. Like,
there's no way they're getting up there without having someone
with some assistance, so that was great on his part.
Yeah, I think that he's probably not going out till at least the merge. And then he's going to be an early boot in the merge.
Probably, because, like, he was also doing so well in that, puzzle challenge, too.
Yeah, he was. Because he's young, too. Isn't he a student or something, or he just graduated? I can't remember.
I think he's a recent graduate.
Yeah, but so I mean he's smart there, and yeah, just that the Orange Tribe they lost it at that puzzle.
Yeah, it was like I feel it was a thing of like, granted, never done a puzzle that complex.
Yeah, that was an interesting puzzle.
Yeah, but I feel like it's a thing of like because so much of Survivor is a mind game, and I've been in competitions where it's like, oh, someone is doing so well. Fuck, I have to face them. Yeah. And then, it has that kind of, like, fear or, like, nerve thing in the back of your head. It's like, oh, no, I'm not doing well. And that can affect you the rest of the, like, competition.
Yeah. It just takes that one, oh, fuck moment.
Like, the momentum or lack thereof can be like, dang.
Yeah. No, I thought Orange Tribe was going to take it because they got there first and they were able to start in and everything.
Oh yeah, they got their head start.
But yeah, like I feel like a lot of times the tribe that gets to the first challenge, to the puzzle first, they usually lose. Yeah. I think that happens quite often.
I feel it. Yeah, it depends. I feel individual immunity wise, it's usually whoever gets there first.
Exactly. But for the first challenge of the season, a lot of times it's whoever gets there first. Because
I think also what it boils down to is team chemistry.
Yeah.
Because, other than building the shelter, this is the first time they're working together.
Yeah.
So that's how, because some people obviously work together better than others. And I feel like, the Purple Tribe was like, all right, these guys worked well. You got someone, that has big muscles that can, move everything. And you got 2 really smart people, also, figuring out the puzzle and everything. Yeah. And Jamal himself being a smart guy, it was like they were able to get it done.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that the Purple Tribe went through because I did not want to see Jason go home. No. He would have gone home without a doubt.
And I was a little bit worried about Dan because,
Dan, oh yeah, that was...
Well, I mean...
I don't think there was anything...
No, to those who haven't been to LA or haven't lived in LA, we can be very...
hands-on,
We can be very touchy. Yeah. bros and stuff like that.
Like,
or like some people, like they greet each other with this.
But some people don't like that, and you got to be able to. You got to read that.
And I feel like he was able to handle it very maturely because he does understand. Like not everyone is comfortable with that, especially since like this is the first few days in.
Yeah.
And like some people aren't there yet when it comes to like being handsy, but as LA people, we're like.
It's like whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely Dan and Jason were going to be the ones going home, and
I feel like if that thing progressed worse, then it would have. But I feel like the talk,
the talk did help, but sometimes you talk it out and you're like, what?
I mean, if you remember season 4, the whole thing with I'm forgetting her name and. I think his name was Shamar. Like, it just kind of escalated to the point where it was like bringing the team down, and she got voted off as a result. But.
Well, also remember Vetus in Second Chance. He was doing some yoga and got a little handsy with a couple people.
Vetus.
Yeah. So I think it would have been either one of them two. Probably most likely Jason.
Yeah, because like. If you're going idol hunting in the beginning, you end up like Tony. Well, granted, he didn't go home first.
Yeah.
But, that put such a huge target on his back in the beginning.
Yeah. Honestly, Jason, he reminds me a lot of Steven Fishback. And Fishback did the same thing in Second Chance as well.
Yeah, and you just got to be careful about...
Yeah.
Like, I know people in past seasons, I believe Malcolm was one of them, like hunting right in the early morning before everyone gets up.
Yeah.
That's probably the best time.
Yeah. Early bird gets the worm.
Exactly.
Like, a lot of people are going to be asleep, and you can go out for like an hour or two probably, and no one's going to think of twice or anything.
Exactly. Like, and then, like in the dead of night, it's going to be harder because you need to see.
Yeah.
So, early morning.
Yeah. Do you also still think that there are hidden immunity idols at the beach? Or
Maybe.
Or do you think it's all going to come from Island of the Idols?
Part of me wants it to be all from Island of the Idols, mostly because
every episode there's a chance that an idol or an advantage gets introduced into the game.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel...
That's enough. We don't need to have people finding hidden immunity idols.
And then have another Suri moment.
Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need another advantage get-in. This advantage get-in happens at, like, Final 9.
Yeah. And then this one, I feel it's, with this as well, it's like, okay, so like, even the idol she was going to get in the beginning was, like, not that powerful.
Yeah.
It was just, like, it can get you through the first 2 votes.
Yes.
So I feel like maybe this season it might be more balanced in the sense of, like, because the idols, granted, you have to, like, make sure you play it at the right time, but... I feel like this time they're going to be, a lot more time restrictions on it. And
we're not going to also have a lot of Ben and Mike situations where they just keep finding idols and playing it every time.
Yeah, because... or, like, even Adam in Millennials vs. Gen X, like, he was able to, like, find one when he really, really needed it.
Yeah.
And I feel like he even said, like, sometimes we throw out idols there just to see if anyone will find it. I feel like this season... purely for like a strategic thing and like Island of the Idols being what it is, I feel like there won't be any at Tribal.
I hope that they don't just put one in each camp like they typically do, because it would just be too much going on. Admittedly, like, it is fun to find a hidden immunity idol because it's like, well, only I know this, but now but I think that for the purpose of the season, it needs to just be at Island of the Idols.
I agree.
And I also like it better than Island of the Idols better than Ghost Islands, because at least now they get to interact with 2 legends. Whereas before it was break this urn. Okay, now I just talk to myself about whether I win or not.
Yeah, I feel like also this one is just like, also they're fun. Like Boston Robin, that it's like, what are you thinking trying to challenge me? And stuff like that. Just like, granted, because I remember seeing Boss and Rob not just in like Heroes versus Villains, which was the first time I saw it, but like back in his very first season. I'm like, you can see, granted, some gross speed, but like the wisdom and like he really knows the game.
Yeah, he's definitely he was a good choice to bring for this kind of season. I was also impressed. Sandra was teaching Elizabeth how to do the fire as well. Because I've never seen Sandra really make fire on the show, but she was doing it, and I was like, okay, good job, Sandra. Good on you.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna be there to be a mentor, be a mentor.
Yeah, exactly. But you'd imagine that they would have had her face Sandra instead of Boston Rob.
Yeah, because when I saw that, I was like,
no,
Boston Rob's not gonna go easy, and I'm like, I feel like Sandra would have been more of a fair fight, but I feel at the end of the day, that whole lesson thing where it's like, know your strengths and what you can handle.
Yeah. Or at least give her like a 10-second head start. Like there should have been something.
Yeah, there should have been.
Because an even fight between her and Boston Rob.
Like he said, he made hundreds of fires out there. Yeah. So going up against him in a fire making contest.
I wonder if she would have said no, if there would have ever been like.
I think he might have upped the ante. Mm-hmm. Maybe she would have taken it then, or maybe she would have been like, no, it's too risky.
Yeah, or there could have been a switch and have Sandra make the fire. Which there could always be something like that. We don't know yet because we only got a little taste.
And I feel like they'll probably switch it up where it's like Boston Rob was this week, next week it'll probably be Sandra. Maybe in the future it'll be both.
Yeah, ooh, that would be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that Elizabeth was a good first go to Island of the Idols, because as you said, she's a competitor, and I think we needed a competitor to go out there and see what happens at these challenges.
If it was a coattail person, that would have been like...
Yeah, someone who's just trying to get by, who doesn't care about making moves.
Yeah, exactly. But, I think overall this first episode was pretty good, and the introduction to Idol Island was really, really cool because some of us had our like doubts about it in a sense, but like when we started, it's like, oh, this is pretty interesting, and it's another challenge we get to see.
Yeah, this definitely went above my expectations. I was not super excited. I was like, you know what, I get to see Survivor again, that's cool, but I wasn't like too excited to like see these characters or anything. I was just like, yeah, I get to see some more Survivor, some more Jeff Probst. Yeah, which we didn't see a lot of Jeff Probst today.
Because he was probably just chilling in his helicopter.
Yeah, he got to relax those first few days. Good for him. He just got to enjoy some craft services.
That must be nice.
Yeah. I
wonder how far away the craft services is away from like the camp, because obviously the cameramen and stuff.
Yeah, it's probably close to Ponderosa, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I wouldn't imagine.
I wouldn't imagine, like someone just having a Cliff Bar. Just like
eating it now.
So, Elaine, let's go to confessional real quick.
I'm imagining that like every 2 to 4 hours or so they switch cameramen.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the cameraman goes off and relaxes for a few hours and then comes back.
Exactly.
Yeah, looking at production of Survivor, like that seems like a lot of work. Like
I would imagine, especially since like the only time I really felt like, other than like the early seasons where they kind of like broke like the cameraman thing, was I think it was Bronze, Brains, and Beauty Part 2, where we had 3 people having a heat stroke, and then that's when we saw like the cameramen and stuff like being apparent. But other than that, like you don't really see them. It seems very seamless.
In something like that, you kind of have to just ignore the fact that you're going to catch some cameramen because that's very important. And
it was an intense moment.
Yeah, and poor Caleb.
Because I haven't seen many episodes or many seasons of Big Brother, but the one he was in was the one I saw. So I was like, come on, Caleb, you got this.
Yeah, I wanted to see him and Ty, have another makeout session.
And when they brought him back and he still didn't make it that far, I was like, damn.
Yeah, he's not destined to play Survivor.
Unfortunately, but
yeah, 'tis life. as they say.
Exactly, and if we're going to talk about early outs, I guess we can talk about the tribal council.
Yeah, the tribal council. What's a tribal council?
Like, I never cared so much, other than like an all-star season, like of who was going home, because like Elaine would have been so sad to see her go. Like, and like, granted, in my head, I'm like, she's probably not going to go home because she's a core member of like 2 different alliances. But like, just because she in her head was so convinced that it was going to happen, I was like, oh man, I don't want her to go.
Her speech too. It made me just go like, come on, just give her at least a couple more days. But it also almost had that Reem Daily kind of tone to it, where it's like, oh, they're all going for me, I'm going home, to the point where it's like, oh, what if people were now like, oh, she thinks she's going home so much, let's just vote her out.
Yeah, because sometimes in just anything, like, it's self-fulfilling prophecy, and I was worried about that, because even despite her being in such a great place, sometimes that self-fulfilling prophecy can override all of that.
Do you think that there were anyone whose votes changed because of her speech?
No, because, I mean, Aaron and Ronnie, it just seemed like they were tight.
They were very tight,
And I feel like, because for talking Elaine, she has, her 2 other boys that seemed like obvious on the bottom, and then she had the Women's Alliance. So she already has 2 people on her side, and then 4 other people on her side.
Women,
So if my fingers are right, this one is Elaine, not using the middle finger to insult her.
Wow.
But alright, so she has 7 right there. And I mean, then that means 3 different people. She didn't have 1 vote.
Maybe. Yeah, Elizabeth didn't get a vote, so she wasn't.
And, maybe the people that might have been on, Aaron's side, granted, Aaron and Ronnie's side, maybe there was like 1 person that was like, maybe I should, just go, because it feels like this is the majority, and I feel like, maybe Ronnie's best to get out.
Now, do you think it was a good move to get rid of Ronnie out of everyone in the tribe?
I feel,
Because I think it was a little too early. I don't think they should have let him get far, but I don't know if he was a good first boot.
I feel, because now that we're so accustomed to there being, like 2 splitting to 3, honestly, the first 2 vote outs, you can target big players, I feel.
You think?
Well, if you look at it from this way, they usually split it into 3, especially if there's like 20 contestants. And, like, there's always a tribe swap or something like that early on these, in the newer seasons.
In like 3 or 4 episodes in.
Exactly. So getting rid of those people early on isn't necessarily, I'd say, crippling as it was back in the earlier seasons where tribe swap was seldom. So yeah, I feel maybe the next challenge, it might propose a problem, but I don't think...
Yeah, if they get rid of Aaron in the next, they lose.
I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem as, like, if it was early Survivor, yes. But nowadays, I feel, because they tribe swap every so often.
I do think I'm a little more in the first boot, more early Survivor of get rid of your weakest person so your next challenge could go. And then, if that didn't work, then get rid of someone that you think isn't going to stay.
Yeah. But, for a poker player, should have kept those cards.
Yeah, he shouldn't have made the first move.
Yeah.
He wanted to make the first move.
Which, usually...
To be fair, in poker, if you get to make the first move, you can control the table.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
But in Survivor,
no.
It puts a target on your back.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge reason why a lot of poker players don't do well, is they want to make that first move. Or they're either in the poker mentality of make the first move or kind of wait it out. And both of those don't really always work in Survivor, especially if you end up being considered a strategic threat.
Oh, yeah, and especially if you go against one of the most likable contestants in the season.
Yeah, it should be all Survivor super fans who ever want to be on the show should now know never to target the likable person right away. always targets someone that people don't like, or is just not contributing to camp whatsoever.
Yeah, go for those people.
Yeah, not someone who is making everyone laugh all the time.
Because if you have a problem with the person that everyone is friends with, now you just made yourself have a problem with 7 people on your tribe.
Yeah, and that's means you become the first boot, such as Ronnie. Yeah, and it's also sad because I picked him. He was my wild card, and he lost.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to pick the first boots. But just watch, all the people I picked are just going to go down one by one.
Could be.
And then it would just be all the people you picked.
No, we both ranked Missy pretty high, so I feel like, she's going to go far.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think I got some people who are going to go far, but I'm not sure if I got a winner pick now. I think Tommy Sheehan could easily come through.
I don't know, or even Janet. I feel like...
Yeah, Janet. If she wins, I will be so happy.
Janet is how you watch Doctor Strange and then you see Wong on the surface. They're like, generic guy. But then Wong just brought it.
Yeah.
And he's lovable. Janet is the Wong of Survivor.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Let's get that going. Janet is the Wong of Survivor.
Exactly. All right. So next episode, that little preview we saw.
Yeah.
Looks like the happy-go-lucky team is there's some fires starting.
Stuff going.
Yeah.
And we always love that in Survivor when things start
chaos.
going away. Yeah.
I mean, it could be the sense of they won the first one, then lose the second one, and then now they have because you get that sometimes when if someone has that first win or a couple wins in a row, when they get something where it's oh crap, we're losing, suddenly that mentality just wipes away fast, and then it gets brutal because it's been so happy.
Yeah, exactly. We could have an intentional match sync thing also potentially happening, or an unintentional tanding, which is a tribe who's doing so well. But that becomes their downfall because
they haven't had to play strategically.
Exactly. Whereas the intentional match sync, they're a core group, and they're not going to break no matter what because they have to stick together.
Well, it's early on, so who knows? And then obviously on the Laro tribe, Aaron is pissed.
Yeah, Aaron is going.
Which we kind of predicted, when things didn't go his way, he would.
Yeah.
Blow up.
Yeah, is he going to burn people's socks? Is he going to go that
Maybe.
far?
I feel like he's just going to, the way it's structured, burn those bridges and put a target on his back.
Yeah, he's in jeopardy, but I don't think they should target him yet.
I mean, I don't know, because if he's not the target, then who is?
That I guess that's the point.
Exactly.
But I think Elaine needs to realize she is in that position to make the change.
I mean, she's more powerful than she realizes.
Yeah, I think she thinks that she still doesn't.
Well, I mean, because as someone who feels like they're on the bottom sometimes you don't realize what good qualities you have, and I don't think she's ever. I don't know her life, but she said, people made fun of her and stuff, but I don't think she's maybe be even used to having the a powerful role.
Yeah.
So it might be entirely foreign to her.
Exactly. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how Elaine and Janet progress. I feel like they were such
if they
huge
make an alliance together.
Women's alliance. Watch the women's alliance spread to the next tribe as well, the purple tribe.
That's gonna be fun.
Oh my gosh. Watch. Janet's gonna be the next Kim Spradlin.
I think she could be next Denise.
Yeah.
Where, in the sense of well, then again, Denise I felt was more of a sleeper, where she became more and more of a threat later on. I feel Janet is just gonna be really, really good, and then just going to be, oh crap, she's even better than we thought.
Yeah, if Elaine, I want to see a final 3 with Elaine, Janet, and someone else.
Sheehan.
and Tommy Sheehan. That would be one heck of a final. I don't
That
know.
would be tough.
I don't know who wins in that scenario right now.
I honestly don't know because like I know I keep talking about Janet, but damn.
Yeah.
Like.
And like they all have great stories to win too. They're not just Survivor fans. They have this story about helping their families.
Oh, yeah.
They've been having to go through all of this stuff, and it would just be one heck of a final tribal council.
Yeah, and then like even early on, like their social games are
They're really
so
good.
big.
They're on point.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun season of Survivor at the very least. Real fast, what do you think of Vince?
Of what?
Vince.
I feel like, you know, he has potential. Like, even Boston Rob and Sandra were like, you know, he might have something going on. Like when they were in the little...
In the booth.
Spy Shack.
Yeah, the Spy Shack.
Inspired by... Tony actually came on the show prior.
And he made that for them.
Or like he pitched that to Jeff. He was like, listen, you know... I know you guys are doing the Idols thing, but wouldn't it be funny if they were listening in on it?
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I feel Vince, especially because he is aligned to Elaine, might go even further than I know you were expecting. But like I said, it's really early to tell.
He has pre-merge written on his face. Like I want one episode to him just wake up and a producer just like had a Sharpie and just write pre-merge on him.
Or like Jeff opens it up, pre-merge. Who's that for? Who wrote this? It was like, oh yeah, that was me. Who's that supposed to be? Vince. Okay.
That would be the most brutal thing is if at Tribal Council you write pre-merge and then their name.
Savage. That's, oh gosh. Because sometimes they write little notes here and there, but like...
No one wants to get out pre-merge.
No.
Like at least make the merge.
It's like Shannon said, or was it Shannon? Said in Redemption Island... It was like, or not Redemption Island. It was Blood versus Water.
Yeah.
No one wants to date someone that didn't make them.
Oh, that was a cat.
And
then she went out pre-merge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was brutal. Okay, well, I think that's gonna do it for our recap on Survivor 39, Island of the Idols. So thank you for tuning in to the Day After podcast. We'll see you next week for week 2 of Survivor 39.
The nerds have spoken.